some of my friends with you who are also musicians. This is my friend Jennifer Isenhour. Say hi, Miss Isenhour.
Hello.
So, Mrs. Isenhour, please tell me and our Lewisville friends what you do for a living.
So my job is a band director. I'm a band director at Gold Hill Middle School in Fort Mill. And that means that I get to teach 6th graders, 7th grade, and 8th graders how to play instruments and to read music and all kinds of fun stuff. My personal instrument, the one that I majored on in college and the one that I'm the best at, is the bassoon. And the bassoon is a double reed instrument. Maybe you've heard of it. A lot of people haven't. It's a really hard instrument. But I like to impress people a lot because I can play all of the band instruments.
That's pretty neat. How much time did it take you to learn all of those band instruments?
It took a long time. And the instrument that I started on was actually clarinet. And then I played a bigger clarinet called a bass clarinet for a really long time, and then I switched to bassoon. So that's 3 instruments right there. My little sisters played trumpet and flute, and so I actually made them a little bit mad by taking their instruments and learning to play them.
Oh no.
Yeah, but when you go to college to be a band director, one of the things that you have to do is you have to learn how to teach all the instruments. I knew that I wanted to be a middle school band director, so I made it a really big focus to learn to play all of the instruments. So I learned to play French horn, and I played it in one of the extra bands in college, and I marched the sousaphone one year in college, which is the really giant tuba that you wear around your shoulders and comes up like this with a really big bell. And that was the best.
Oh, I bet. I remember taking euphonium lessons in college. It's sort of a smaller
it's
tuba.
All the way up from middle school through high school and through college was whenever I learned how to play all those instruments, but I still love to learn new instruments. I actually just picked up a electric bass guitar, and I'm learning to play that right now. So the only instrument that I don't have, that I haven't learned how to play that I really want to, are the bagpipes. That's my next goal.
The bagpipes sound pretty awesome, I do have to say. I wouldn't mind learning those either, actually. So, why did you want to become a musician?
For a long time, I actually didn't want to do it for a job. I've always loved it, but it wasn't until my sophomore year, my 10th grade year, that I knew that I wanted to do it for a living. Up until then, I wanted to be a doctor, and my parents and family were super excited to have a doctor. And then I went to what's called an all-region band, which is where people from the area who are the best on their instruments, you have to audition, and then you go and you get together with all these people who are super, super good, and then you learn music in like a day or 2 and you perform it. And I had such a good teacher, such a good director at that all-region band that it totally changed my mind. And I left after that weekend, and I went home and I told my parents, I want to be a band director. And they were like, what? But they saw how much I loved it and how much I loved music and how much I loved sharing my love of music with other people. And so I guess that's most of the reason why I do what I do, because I just love to share my passion for music with others.
That's pretty awesome, Mrs. Eisenhower. I think that's really great. And I love the job that we get to do. And being able to make music with other people, it's my favorite part. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it is your favorite part too.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of making music with other people, have you gotten to travel anywhere interesting and to be able to make music with other people?
I've gotten to travel literally all over the world, learning or getting to make music with other people. So the first time that I got to travel making music was with actually the Winthrop University Carolinas Wind Ensemble, Carolinas Wind Orchestra, and we got to travel to Spain and perform at a band festival in Spain. It was right outside of Barcelona, and it was such a neat experience, an incredible experience, because we were in a festival with bands from all across Europe. There was a band from Germany, there were bands from Spain, there were bands from Italy, and to watch and see the way that people from different countries made music the same way as us, but also different ways too. This band that we saw from Germany was very strict, and they marched out to perform, and they were all in rows, and they had a drum major who was yelling at them like the instructions, but in German, and it seemed honestly a little bit scary. But then they turned around, and the drum major that was leading them counted off, and then they played the Michael Jackson song Thriller. Thriller, Thriller Nights. And I was like, what?
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then there was another band from a very small island off the coast of Spain. And the neat thing about that band was it wasn't a school band, it was a community band.
Sort of like CWO.
Kind of like that, but it was like the local village's band.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to be sitting, when I was watching the performance, I happened to be sitting beside the bus driver that was for that band. Huh. And I speak a very small bit of Spanish, and so I was able to talk to him just a little bit, enough to understand that he pointed out the little boy, there was a little boy at the front who led them out for their performance, and he was holding the claves, these two little sticks that you hit together like that, making a sound. And he pointed out that that little boy, they went all the way through the band to the percussion that was at the back, and he, the snare drum player, was the grandfather of that little boy. So how cool would that be to play in like a band with your granddad?
That's really
right?
cool.
So it was, you know, a family community kind of experience, which was really neat.
And that same group that you went to Spain with, Carolina's Wind Orchestra, got to play in Chester County last semester, I think around December.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Lexier's daughter got to perform with the Chester County Honor Band, and they got to play with CWO too.
Yeah,
so
that was a lot of fun. That was a great concert.
Yeah.
And then, even more recently, I got to work with the Fort Mill High School Band, with their marching band, and with their concert bands. And we performed, we got to visit Scotland and Northern England, and we performed in a festival there. And we got to see bands again from all over, not just Europe. This time we even got to see another band program from Australia. And I got to make friends with band directors who live literally across the entire world from us, and hear, you know, that their students love music just like we do, and their teachers love teaching just like we do, and that was fantastic. And then just this fall, the high school marching band, Fort Mill High School Marching Band, performed in Utah. We made it all the way to Utah. Our whole entire band flew on airplane to go to Utah to perform there for people, and we got to visit the Grand Canyon and see the Grand Canyon all through the band program.
What?
Mm-hmm. It was fantastic. So I've got
really
to see,
awesome.
I've got not only to like make incredible music with people, but also because of band, be able to travel and have incredible memories while making music.
Yeah, and that's it. That's really important to like be able to sit back and listen and enjoy somebody else making music, but it's also really fun to be able to make music with your friends. Like I get to make music with Miss Isenhour when we're in Carolina's Wind Orchestra together. Mm-hmm. And even though she's way across the room, I can look at her and go, "That's my friend."
Yeah.
And be able to play with my friends is pretty fun.
Yeah. One of the things that our students got to do whenever we performed in England and Scotland was they had a mass band of all the band programs that were performing there. They did two pieces that had representatives from all of the bands together. So our students got to sit with people from Germany and people from Belgium and people from Australia, and it was so neat to watch. It was giant. There were like 300 people playing their instruments together, and it was very loud, but very good. Sure. And our students had a wonderful time.
And what I think is really cool about an experience like that is that you can still make music together and not even speak the same language.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, that part is really cool to me. That part is very cool. Well, thank you, Mrs. Isenhour, for joining us and sharing just a little bit of what you know with my students. And I'm sure they would say thank you if they were here,
Right.
too. So thank you very much.
Oh, I'm so glad I got to talk to you just for a little bit. And
Me too.
stay safe, stay healthy.
I will see you next time, my LES friends. Have a good one. Bye.